Nice to see.
Honor's coming. Oh my goodness.
Yes, fellow members of our Pulpwood Queen Nation out there, and some local friends from Beaufort and folks from elsewhere as well. This is a topic that comes up quite a bit, sort of, what is a book review? Is it something that only people in stuffy newspaper offices do, or is it something that anybody can do? How do we as readers get to really help and engage with those writers that we care about and we want to champion? And it can seem kind of off-putting and foreign to a lot of folks. And then there are those of us who have figured out lots of different ways to do it. And Annie is definitely in that second group. She's become a remarkable champion of readers and writers. And I'm very happy to share with you all, if this is new information to you, that a book award in Annie's name has been established as well, which is a wonderful wonderful gift to give to any writer. So I'm very happy for Annie and whoever wins the first ever Annie McDonnell Book Award. So welcome everybody, welcome Annie, and I'll happily turn it over to you.
Thank you so much, Jonathan. You're so kind. It's like you're saying all these wonderful things. You're very nice. Thank you so much. And Jonathan, you passed that Doug Marlette Award on to me, which made it that much more special. So, and anything from Public Queens is always wonderful as well. So thank you so much. I wanted to do this workshop because, as Jonathan was saying, there's always these questions going around about book reviews. People are scared to write them because they think they'll do it wrong. So people stay away from it. And they're never wrong, right? Even if you are only going to put stars. So I wanted to go through and explain a couple of things. But I wanted to start off by telling everybody why their reviews are so important to authors. In the USA Today, it says that 20% of sales are driven just by reviews alone. A third of buyers will not buy something until they've read the review. So this is like a true gift that you give to an author if you write a review. And I'll explain that you don't have to write a review, you can give it stars. And 55% of people start all of their shopping by looking through reviews on Amazon. So I know that, we're all very supportive of independent bookstores. So there's lots of places where you can put your review, but Goodreads and Amazon are like the top of the list because they drive each other and they drive sales to all of the stores. How many the independent bookstores are going to order? They all drive sales. Goodreads bounces off of Amazon and all of that. And like it's never too late to leave a review. Like even if it's a 10-year-old book and you want to go say something about it or you've read it. And I always say books aren't milk, they don't expire. So it's not just the new releases that you want to leave reviews for. People often think that they should only be doing that for new releases. Now, Amazon, it's very important when you're reading a book and you finish reading it. I don't know how anyone else goes into reading a book, but I go into reading every single book that it doesn't have to disprove itself to me. It's already, every book has to disprove itself to me, excuse me. It doesn't have to prove itself. It's already published. The author has already accomplished that. We already know they've done their job. So they're already starting at 5 stars with me all the time. So some people go in and they're like, they need to be, the book has to be elevated. And people have to go in with fresh eyes to a book that it's already been published, fresh eyes. And I think that's a really, like, it's almost like innocent until proven guilty type of thing. And I have a high 5 rule for book reviews. If you are intimidated to write a review, you can leave the 5 stars, 4, 3, 2, 1, whatever. Leave 5 adjectives. Leave a sentence with 5 words, and then you build on that. That's how you learn how to write your reviews. I've taught a lot of people that, and a lot of people have built their reviews that way. They started leaving stars, then the 5 adjectives, then the sentences, and then now they're loving, they're writing reviews all over the place. And everybody has their own voice. So there is no right or wrong way to write a review. So, and you can't be intimidated by seeing someone's review and saying, oh my goodness, they're so wonderful at reviews. I can't put mine up because I can't compare to them. Because I hear that all the time. Some people write them so spectacularly that other people say, I'm not doing that because they are so wonderful. I cannot put mine under that. It doesn't matter. Everyone has their own voice, and everyone that's looking at the reviews, they have their own eye and their own voice as well. So your voice matters to everybody as well. And you have to remember that. Everybody can do this. Everybody can write reviews. They're all meant to be different. All of them. Because if people were reading the reviews and they all sounded the same, it wouldn't be useful to anybody. I also have a bus theory. I have crazy things. If you read a book and you don't like it, I always say, think that there's like 45, 50 people on a bus. There's always going to be a person that you could pass that book to, and they are going to love it. They're going to devour it, and it's going to be perfect for them. So I always ask people to consider, before they write a negative review, to consider who do they think might like this book, and write the review for that person, because you're trying to write the review for the person that would like the book, as opposed to necessarily you hated it yourself, because the person that would like it is really who you're trying to give the review to, right? And I think that that's a very important part of it. A lot of people will read a book and it'll literally say this book has curse words, and I'm not saying it says this, but it has curse words, it has sex, it has drugs. And then people will write, oh my God, I gave it 2 stars. I couldn't believe it had curse words. It had this, it had this. And that's very daunting. You can't do that. You can't hold a book to a different standard than it says it already is, right? But a lot of people do this. And I also think you can't slam a book, because an author wrote the book. It's their job. You can't tear down an author. Some people do that all the time, and it's just not the right way to go. If you read a book and you don't like it, or you're starting to read a book and you don't like it, there's different ways to go about it. And I get a lot of people saying to me, oh my gosh, Annie, I'm reading this book and I don't like it. What do I do? It depends. If an author's asked you to read, I often say, contact the author. It is you talk to them. That's not your cup of tea. Can you pass it on to someone? You might have a friend who might like it. Use it as a giveaway. Instead of writing, a review, I couldn't finish the book type of thing. And before I get into how you set up your review, spoilers. In the dictionary, spoilers are, and I have to look because I don't know it by heart, that which ruins the thrill, the suspense, the thought, provocation, or imagination, or excitement you might otherwise experience. So spoilers are not telling the end, telling something very, like somebody died, which people do a lot. Like a lot of people will say, oh my God, somebody died and this person's book has not even been released yet. So it's also little things. If you're reading a book and you have an aha moment, or a moment where you go, or whatever, if it exudes any type of emotion, don't put that in your review. You want the other readers to have that same emotion. You want them to feel that, because that made you more in touch with the book. So you can't take that away from other readers. So it's not necessarily a spoiler. It's little things. Now you're going to laugh. I mean, this is crazy. a crazy thing, but I was reading a book. It was about all these women, and I found out they tell us, oh my gosh, you find out the grandmother smokes pot, and I was like, oh my god, I can't believe she smokes pot. Like, oh my god, she's crazy. And everybody was telling that in the reviews after, because I don't read them till after, and I was devastated because I was like, oh my gosh, anyone that reads the reviews first is not going to have that. Oh my god, I was laughing so hard because it was a funny part in the book when you find out that she's doing this, because she was like 90 years old or whatever, and it was just funny that she was doing this. And it's just sad when you take these moments away, because it's not big, necessarily a huge moment, but it is something quite important. So when you are writing your reviews, I always say, don't write more than the synopsis that the author gave, because I believe that's the permission that they gave to talk, what they said it's okay for us to talk about with the book. Now, this is my opinion. Because a lot of people write a lot more. But I always say reviews should be your emotions, your feelings on the book. And that's why I say everyone should have their own voice. When I read a review, I want to know how a book made them feel. I don't need a detailed essay about what the book is about. I want to find that out when I read it. You know what I'm saying? I want to know, did it move you? Did it touch you? Did it excite you? And stuff like that. So how do you write a review? Again, you can start off with the 5 stars, the 5 adjectives, there's 5 words to make up a sentence. But the first sentence should always be a hook, something that they read that's going to catch the audience, like the person that's reading the reviews. Something, as simple as it ignited my spirit so much. It ignited my spirit. That's simple enough, right? Because somebody will say that's serious, like this moved them very seriously. And it's not like, oh, it was good. It's just a little different. The hook should tell something a little more, like in Amula Maladi's book, The Nearest Existence of Women, I think it's called, I can't remember, Nearest Exit for Women. My first line was, this is a celebration of women. And like, that was very simple, but like everybody loved it because nobody realized that's really what it was. The whole book was a celebration of women. You should also always mention the author's name and the book somewhere in the review. And this is if you're taking steps towards writing the review. If you have questions, feel free to let me know. And I always say share general information. Maybe what like Connor here, he's an author. Janet, I don't know if anyone else is, I'm sorry, but Janet, I always only talk about what they wrote in the synopsis. Amazon already has a synopsis. Goodreads already has a synopsis. I just feel you don't need to have another one, right? They've already read it. They already know that, so you don't need to add that. You can say this is part of a series. This is the end. This is the first. This is a new release. I was so excited to read this. And then basic plot of the summary is just smack in the middle. Let's just say there was something that didn't quite fit with the book, but you did like it. I really don't, people laugh at me. I really don't go below 4 stars. And it's because I don't read a book unless I pretty much know I'm going to like it, right? I research it. I research like crazy books before I decide I'm going to read it. So I already know I'm going to like it. And so 5 stars is like, oh my gosh, I really loved it. 4 stars is really great. But like the books that are 6 stars to me are like, Connor's book. Like I don't shut up about the book, so everyone knows it's already, I haven't read any of Janet's yet. I have it here, but I haven't read it yet. But like Connor's book, I love. So like everyone knows Annie loves Spellbound, so that's like a very important book to her. So you can shout from the rafters about books beyond just writing your review. It's very important that to me, it's the people that work at like New York Times and the New York Journal, that they write the long things because that's their job. Like it's their job to do the long reviews, and they're published somewhere else. They're not published on Amazon. I think they might put them there later, but they're not published on Amazon. So it's a different type of feel and texture to it. And we are just there as readers to give our opinion. So it's different. We're not being paid, so to speak, to do this. I'm going to talk next week about if you start a blog for reviews, like always explain your rating system. Because I found out, I have to explain why I don't really have 3 2s and 1s. I will never give a book a 2 or a 1. I think I gave 1 a 2 before, and I went back and I was like, what did I do that for? Like, that was awful. I'm an awful human being. I can't believe I did that, but it was a while, it was years ago. So, because I've been doing this since 2006. So I've changed, I've grown, I've learned a lot, but by taking sessions like this. And so I've gone back and I've changed things because I realized that, you really can't do that to people. It's not right. General tips on reviews: keep it streamlined, proofread it before you post it, and don't be mean to anybody. Just don't be mean. And for me, again, it's how the book made you feel is very important. The sweet spot, you can obviously write a negative review if you need to. I'm not telling anybody not to do that. The basic rule for me is like this: if you buy the book, is different than if the author gives you the book. Then you have to discuss it with the author before you do anything, in my opinion. If the publicist gives you a book and you say, yes, I will review this book for the author that you work for, you should absolutely write a positive review or not write one at all. Because you've now accepted a job when a publicist asks you to do it. You've accepted a job to publicize the book, right? It's different. So when a publicist asks you to do it, you really have to give it a positive review. Because again, you have to remember that you've agreed to publicize for the book. So you can't just give it a negative review. Keep in contact with everybody if you feel that you don't like the book. And everyone's very gracious. Authors are not like, oh, what? You don't like my book? You're the worst human being on the face of the earth. Nobody feels that way. Everybody knows it's okay that you didn't like my book. It's fine. So just everything's communication, everything's talking to people. And that this is what makes the world go around. Because I am telling you, there are people that love every single book. There are people that love every single book. And that's very important to remember. And that's why I always say, for me, I will sell the book, even if I'm not a 100% fan of it. But if I really am not a fan of it, I will talk to the author about it. Like I can't do an interview if I don't like the book. Because then I know I'm really promoting it like crazy, right? Now, if you have something bad to say about a book, I learned this with Elle Magazine, because that's how I started. You sandwich the negative comment in the middle of 2 of your positive stuff. So oh my God, I love the cover. The book was great. It dragged on, it was so long to get to the end. It was driving me crazy. However you want to say it, was driving me crazy. But once I got to the end, it was awesome. But, put whatever drove you crazy in the middle, people are going to forget it. But you said it, it was out there. You remained true to yourself and your feelings. And even when you do things like that, it brings legitimacy to a book when they're not all fives. They can't be all fives. A sweet spot for a book, an author, is 4.2. So they should have some much lower scores, because they should have a lot of reviews. So it takes a lot to get down to a 4.2. And next week I'll want to discuss, why it's so important to get onto the Goodreads cycle and all of that. Does anybody I logged. Uh-oh. Did I lose you? Uh-oh.
Still here. I see you and hear you.
Okay.
Me too.
I got scared there for a minute. I got scared. So, does everybody belong to Goodreads on here? Okay.
Yes.
Okay. So Goodreads is that is the wheel that keeps all of the books grinding. So as soon as an author knows a book's coming out, even if their cover's not ready, they should have it on Goodreads, and it should say cover coming, whatever. Some of them would say cover coming, whatever it says. But they should be out there doing whatever they can to get people ticking that thing, to be read, to be read, to be read, because Amazon's watching, and Amazon's saying, oh my gosh, I need to order a whole bunch of these. But at the same time, they're getting ARC sent to reviewers, and reviewers are then leaving. You can leave reviews on Goodreads before the book comes out.
Oh, really?
And that's the only one where you can leave reviews before the book comes out. And that also helps all of the shops, all of the small bookshops, independent bookshops, the bricks and mortar shops, Amazon. They all know, oh my gosh, this has a bunch of really great reviews. We need to have 10 on hand the day it releases. That's how, all of that happens. Now, there's also a bunch of, when you write the review, when you post it, again, there's like a top 5. I don't know. I thought of these things to make it easy for people to remember. So like there's a top 5 places that you should leave your reviews: Goodreads, Amazon, Barnes & Noble, BookBub, and Kobo. Copy and paste, it takes less than 5 minutes. So in 5 minutes, you can change the life of an author, because it really does move things around for them. Because if an author on Amazon gets to 25 reviews, things maneuver. When they get to 50, all of a sudden, if there's a book like theirs, they will be, an ad of theirs will show up. Oh, other people that bought this book, they bought this book too. They liked this book. They looked at this book. So you're helping promote the author's book as well along the way, ticking their clock, their number of reviews. And that's why authors are always saying, oh, I have 44. I need to get to 50, y'all, and it's really exciting when they move up to like 100, because then they get in the magazine, the net newsletter that Amazon sends out. So everything changes the higher they go. And Amazon does move things around. Like Amazon is where everybody gets their Kindles. Right? A lot of people love Kindle books. So put everything here. If you're deeply, I love my local bookstore. I advertise for them, but everybody loves Kindles too. So you have to remember, and there's all different places for you to leave your review. And that's why I say those 5 places. Does everybody belong to NetGalley?
No,
Has everyone heard of it?
no.
Okay. So there's, have you, Jonathan?
Yes, I use NetGalley.
Have you?
Mhm.
Okay.
I have not.
Oh, I love it. All right. All right. So Bryn, nice to see you. So there's oh, and another thing is there as well. If you get a book sent to you from an author, take a picture with it or of it and put it on your site, because that's another way to post a review in a different way. You're marketing the book for the author, right? So that's another way to do it. And not for nothing, I'm behind on my reviews. I always catch up, but I'm going through a lot of stuff right now. So I definitely always make my reviews. I have I should have gotten it. Got it. I have a journal. And what I do when I'll open, and I write words that the book's making me feel as I'm reading it. So then when I go back to write my review, I have I should have had it here. I'll bring it next week. But there's a whole bunch of words, there's sentences. I already know things that were very intriguing, important to me while I was reading the book, and I can write the review. I take a long time to write a blurb or whatever because I write blurbs for authors too. I take forever to get those things out. I mean, but I take this too seriously. No, very seriously. Let me not say too seriously. What are the 5 places to post reviews? Goodreads, Amazon, Barnes and Noble, BookBub, and Kobo. So Barnes and Noble, okay, Kobo is a really great site, and BookBub is a great site too. That's where you get an author will have their book there, but Kobo will lead them to all the sites. They're all really fun sites to go to. If you don't belong to the sites, they're really neat. And again, if you copy and paste, it doesn't take you long at all to share everything for the author. Now, okay, so I have my journal, but what I also do, quick tip, I also Google adjectives for describing people, adjectives for describing a place, adjectives for describing I'm scared, scary. Like I look up all of these things all the time. So I try not to use words that are used all the time. So I'm always using these lists, and they're all over. Hold on. Like they're all over the place. There's lists everywhere. Oh, see all those lists? There's all these different words, and there's words that you would never think of. So then like you're changing and you're learning as you go, because you're learning new words, and it's a lot of fun. Serena loves doing that. We were just talking about that before. She says she looks up adjectives to describe book reviews. That's what she looks up. So now NetGalley is a really cool place if you want to write, if you know you want to write book reviews. You know you want to write book reviews. You're going to be committed to this. It's a site that you can join, and you can get books in advance on Kindle. And you sign up as a reader, a blogger, social media, all these different things. And you can actually see all of the books that are coming out for like up to 9 months in advance. You can request the book. And then before you know it, you're getting badges for best reviewer, 100 reviews, all these things. So it's like you're playing this little game with them. It's a lot of fun. And then some publishers will give you auto approval. So like then you can get any book you want from them. It's just amazing. So I always say, if somebody decides, I really like writing reviews, NetGalley is a really great place to check out. You start out with 1 or 2 books and see if you like it, see how it goes.
them. It's just amazing. So I
Is
always
somebody talking?
somebody decides, I really like writing reviews. That gallery is a really great place to check out.
Yeah,
I can't hear you.
we've got a bit of an echo. I think we're getting some audio of somebody who's also watching on Facebook. It's just that was you hearing
Well,
yourself.
somebody.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Sorry.
Yeah, no, it's
That's
fine.
funny.
Uh,
Okay. Sorry
Since
about
I
that.
interrupted you
So-
anyway, let me just quickly say we're getting a lot of really positive comments on Facebook
Okay,
from watching
that's good.
live. There's people are very happy with I guess we will call it your criticism sandwich, your idea of putting the negative positives. And I will say as well, just sort of to go back to your idea of a list of words, list of adjectives, there's this really wonderful resource called, I believe it's called the Positive Trait Thesaurus. It's in the Writers Helping Writers series. So it's a book you can buy that's really basically just a list of positive adjectives.
What's it called?
Yes, I think it's called the Positive Trait Thesaurus. It's
Okay,
been
I
really
know
handy in a lot of different contexts. For
Thank
those
you.
of us who have to write letters of recommendation all the time, it's really handy, but it's great for reviews as well.
That's fantastic. I love adjectives. I don't know what I'm really into adjectives. And you taught me, Jonathan, when I hosted you for an interview, you had said you can't use too many adjectives. Or when I came to your I come to one of your sessions or something.
Workshop. Yep.
Your workshop. You were saying you can't use too many adjectives. I'm like, thank God I don't use too many. I was like, whoo, but that made me laugh because I'm very into adjectives. But it is different if you're scared to write a review and you're just going to say love, like, what, and you just want to write 5 adjectives. I think that's just a good way to start. But yeah, I was laughing about the not to write too many adjectives. Now that's just when you're publishing a book, you guys. That's not when you're writing a review. Now there's another cool site. Have you all been writing reviews already? Okay. All right. So there's a really fun site called Book Sirens. This is fun. So this is like, where's my card on that? This is like, I love going there. Okay, here you go. So I love going there. You join up for Book Sirens. You fill everything out, who you are, your your website, your Goodreads site, your Amazon site. I don't know if you all know, but when you start writing reviews on these sites, you have a personal page. Like you have your own Goodreads page, you have your own Amazon page. Like my Amazon page is like I've written over 350,000 reviews. They've been viewed over 100,000 times or whatever, how many stars you get. I didn't know I had this until I got some ping. It was like, oh my God, you've been over, da, da, da. I said, what is this? So there's all these things that you don't even know exist going on just because you're leaving reviews. But Book Sirens is so cool. So you sign up for it, you put all of your information in, and it goes, and it spits out like mine was, I'm in the top 10% of reviewers. And it says cool things like popularity of a book doesn't matter to me at all. I'm really, and it says authors check me out because I don't care if it's the new release or not. Like I'll read the book no matter what. So it lists all of these things out about yourself that you don't even realize. And it does pie charts of your of like what you mostly read, like what genres you read, and it's just a really, really cool site to belong to. And it's another site that you can get books from to read in advance. So but you can utilize this tool in regards to what we're going to discuss next week. I've had a lot of people come to me and say, oh, Annie, I just love Alison Ragsdale. She's my favorite author, and I just wish, I knew her better. I wish I could be an advanced reader for her. And I say to them, well, reach out to her. We live in a day and age now where you can reach out to an author and say, I love your work. I'd love to be an advanced reader. These are the reviews I've left on your books in the past. Whatever you want to say. You give them one of your reviews, chances are they're going to say, I'd love to have you on board to be an advanced reader for me. And, you create these relationships with authors, and you should never be scared, right? I'm still trying to get in touch with Nicholas Sparks, right? I'm not giving up. I mean, Pat Conroy's wife is coming on next week. I was scared to death to talk to her, but I did it anyway. So you should just never be scared. And I always know, everybody's the same. They just don't. You just don't realize it. So you can approach anybody that you like, that you want to review their books, and you want it in advance. Like I have like a whole bunch of books over there, and they're like going out like a year. Like, so, it's really, really exciting. And it's just very cool that you can actually change somebody's life by writing a review and putting it everywhere. Now, when you have to remember another thing, when you're writing a review, it's also, you also sometimes have to put like a tagline on Amazon. That's a tough one for people too. Some people are fine with what they have to put like in the summary, but then they're like, well, what do I put in the tagline? People don't like that about Amazon. It's so easy. You can simply say, I loved this book. I mean, my first book review was in 3rd grade, and that's what I wrote. I love this book. Read this book. It's very simple. And you could write that all the time, and authors would be very happy with that. I love this book, read this book. That's it. That's all you have to write. Now, there's lots of banter that can go on about how should reviews be written, how should they not be written, who's right, who's wrong. There is no right, there is no wrong. The only wrong I think there is when people slam an author, when people, do things like that. That's the only real wrong, or give spoilers out. Those are the only wrongs I believe there are, but everyone has their own voice. I mean, not for nothing. People know when it's an Annie McDonnell review, like, because I have everyone's review sounds the same. Like, I always know when I'm reading a Linda Keenan review. I know when I'm reading a Carla Sudo or a Serena. So you always know, and they don't have to sign it yet. You know that it's theirs, or Phyllis, like, you just know it's theirs. And because they get their branding, right? They all have like a certain brand already because they've created their own voice. Just like an author does in their book, right? An author has a book, and all of their books are their brand, and they have their own voice. And a book review, I consider that's my writing. That's the only writing I seem to be good at right now. is the book reviews. I am trying to write, but not getting it very much away. But I don't know. I don't feel that everyone should, write like a whole long song and dance about the book, but some people think you should. So, but that's the only difference. And I'm not saying that's wrong. I'm just saying, in my opinion, I don't like to do it that way. I don't do it I used to do it that way, but I don't anymore. And so by me saying to keep it only feelings, please keep in mind, I'm not saying that's the only way to do it. And I want to be clear about that. Okay, Connor? Now, it's really fun if you like to do reviews. I always love, me. I'm like, me. A lot of you here don't know me. So I always read articles about books that are coming out. I always watch this page called bookreporter.com. They have books coming out. You know what's coming out for a couple of months ahead. I have on here, read a book like a boss. So funny. Oh my gosh. I take reading a book very seriously. But that's me. Because it's my hobby, but it feels like a job to me, but everybody's different. Um, so that's just how I am. But book release dates, I have a notebook, a journal, because I write everything down. A lot of people have spreadsheets that are book reviewers, but I handwrite everything. And if you know something's coming out that you really, really want to read, ask the author if you could have an arc. If you know you're going to write a review for sure, if you know for sure you're going to write a review. But I do always buy the books. I'll tell you that right now. I do always buy the books. So that is one thing I will say I'm proud that I do. I just got Connor's poetry books. They arrived, Connor. So let's see. Is it acceptable to skim read a book and still write a review in your opinion? No. No. I don't think so. Skimming a book is not reading the book. You don't know it. You don't know the book. You probably missed something very important. A lot of people, there's reviews I see that say, oh, this book, I had to skim it. It was driving me crazy. Okay, well, if you didn't read it, you don't know if it was good or bad or not. All right, Tim Logan wrote a book. Fabulous. He just had a book come out today. Fabulous thriller author from England. The book was a very slow, what do you call that? Slow what? It was very slow to getting whatever the point. I forget what you call that. But
Build up.
well, yeah, very slow build up. So it was like, where is this book going? And oh my gosh. But I kept reading it because I said I was going to review. I was interviewing him too. So I was like, oh, here we go. But when it came, it made everything worth it. And you knew why there was a buildup. There was a reason for that buildup. There was a reason for me to have that angst, right? I was supposed to have that angst because so did the characters, right? If I'm not feeling what the characters are feeling, it's not right. But if I didn't keep reading, I would not have known that. So there's a lot of reasons to always read it properly. If you decide that you need to skim a book, you need to call it off. You need to say, this is not the book for me, not my cup of tea, and let the author or whomever know. If you're choosing to be a reviewer, is what I'm saying. Like if you're saying get an arc from the author, it's different than if you bought the book. Because once you tell an author that you want to review their book, you should be in talk with them. So yeah, that was a good question. There was a Vanessa Lilly book, and this lady was like, oh, the character was this and the character was that, and she was, she was always talking like she was using a curse word too much. Well, so I wrote a comment, 'cause you can comment back, and I said, you didn't read the book right. She was doing that because she didn't have this as a child. If you read the whole book, she figured that out, and everything at the end was fine. This was this, and then on the back end, she writes me, she's like, you really cared about that book, didn't you? But it ends up, now we follow each other, because I didn't attack her for her comment. I just said, you missed something, right? I normally don't do that, but I felt like she was so fiercely angry about this that I felt I had to tell her that what you're upset about is not true. You missed like a chapter of the book. So I think that's what gets lost in translation when people miss something sometimes. You can another thing, if you sitting around and you're reading reviews, click that you like it if you like it, because that also ticks things off in Amazon for the author. I don't know why, but if you click like, for some reason that ticks their number up just as if you're leaving a review. So the like button is very, very important as well. So if I am reading reviews, I do use the click the like button a lot. You know, if it moves me or anything like that. So so next week I want to talk about, you know, how do you become what we call, you know, a professional reviewer, and how do reviews posted by readers compare to reviews posted on the New York Times? Like what is really the difference? You know, why is there a difference? And then you know, I want to get down to, you know, what if you wanted to expand just a little bit more towards the end of that conversation? What if you really wanted to be more in the book community? You know, I just want to talk about that just at the very end of it. What if you wanted to do more? What if you wanted to open a book club, right? What if you wanted to do something different just at the end of that? Because it all starts with people writing reviews, people talking about books. Because when you're talking, people don't realize when you're talking about the books, all you're doing is leaving reviews the whole time. The whole time you're leaving reviews about the book and you don't even know it. Everybody, it's review all day long in the book clubs, and nobody even realizes it. That's all everybody's doing when they're talking about it, you know. And the same people will then say, I can't write a review, but they can. They just don't think it. They don't think they can, because really it's a conversation. It's just a conversation that you're having, you know, with somebody. And that's really what the bottom line is. And it's something that, you know, you are supposed to be comfortable with once it's out there. And that's all it is. And, you know, again, if you've never written reviews and you're scared to write reviews, start with the stars. And anyone can always come to me, because I always do private sessions on writing reviews. I do it all the time. So that's no problem. Did anyone have any questions? No?
That was really good, Annie. Thank you. I
Thank
enjoyed that. I like your saying of starting with 5 adjectives.
Well, thank you, Erica.
Yeah, 5's a big number, isn't it? But they're good, helpful hints. I like that.
Thank you.
I
Thank you,
learned a
Jen.
lot. Thank you very much, Annie.
Thank you, Bryn. Thank you.
Thank you. That was very interesting.
So it's sort of a homework assignment. What might folks do? Go to Goodreads or Amazon or somewhere that's kind of public and post a review if they've never done that before, or maybe if that's a little intimidating, but there's a writer you really like and you want to be supportive, then maybe write something and email it or mail it to that writer. I mean, it means so much to a writer to get a note in any form, in any way, through any conduit that's just supportive from a reader. You have no idea how much that means until you do it. And since we've got just a couple minutes and Connor Garrett is on here, let me respond to something that he posted in the chat that we saw here in the Zoom room. They didn't see out on Facebook.
Hey, Jonathan.
Hey, Connor, thanks so much for being here. Where in the world are you, my friend? Where are you zooming in from?
Still Biblos right now. Yeah. So, like the other day, bread was going to be $50 US because the exchange rate has gone so crazy here. Because anyways, we're totally off topic. Good to see you.
You too. So Connor and his dad, Kevin, are the authors of this book called Spellbound Under the Spanish Moss. And Annie and I both adore that book. We have both been very supportive of that in a number of ways. But I got to work with my teenage protege, a familiar figure here at the Conroy Center, Holland Perryman, who wrote her first ever published book review about Connor and Kevin's book. And it ran in the Post and Courier, the paper in Charleston, Pulitzer Prize winning newspaper. And I told Holland a day or two before that review is going to run, go to all these places that have sales ranks and write down what those sales ranks are today. And then 2 days after that review runs, go back and do it again. See how much a review actually matters. And it was amazing to both of us to see those numbers just climb on the basis of one review that was publicly available for a book that deserved that kind of coverage. It was just remarkable to see the impact that a reviewer's words can have.
And she was so articulate too. I mean, for a first review, it was so thoughtful because and to kind of piggyback off of, so Annie earlier, the question of like, do you actually have to read a book fully, line by line, every single bit of it to write a review? I think the beautiful thing about doing that is there's a level of specificity that really helped, because people can tell when it's a fluff review and when it's legit, and
Yes.
there's no way to fake what Olin wrote. And it's also and then I would also say, if you guys are writers, like, we got to be grateful for every single one we get, and we got to let reviewers and people know that we're grateful, because I mean, it does take time. It's not like an instantaneous thing. And I mean, you guys know it means the world when you get them. So yeah.
Yeah, I'm being reached through my website. I've had several people outreach for me who are Norwegian Americans. And it's been fantastic because they'd had the experience in Norway during World War II. And that means more to me than anything else. But I am kind of encouraging them to just write something simple at Amazon, because that's the big baby. What you can say whatever you want. But it is amazing how people are reaching out to me. A lot of it is through the website. So I'm already getting books from this one gentleman. And it's amazing. I have a new friend. I have several new friends.
Aww.
And they're complimenting me on the storytelling, but also the truth, have them having experienced it as kids and stuff like that. So it's really rewarding. And they're slowly going up. I mean, it's I've been to a lot of book clubs and they won't post. So,
well, if I also know that if authors are stagnant on reviews being posted, it's always awesome to have some event, big thing over a week. Like, oh my God, let's do reviews. I'm going to give away a $20 gift certificate. People will do stuff for $20. It's just do a contest of some kind to post your review. There's just a lot of things there's so much marketing stuff that can be done online, especially for reviews that are just out of this world, that people just don't even realize. And getting the reviews, like from the book club, is one of them. If you're having a book club and they post, if you say, post your review the night of the book club or the week of the book club, and I'll be giving away a gift certificate in the following week, I guarantee you'll have people writing reviews as opposed to not.
That's a good tip. I wondered if offering something doesn't make it legit. No, they always want to make sure you have a legit. So
no, I mean, you can do that.
Yeah.
There's nothing wrong with asking people, because it's the same thing as asking people. You're just having a contest.
Right.
Because you're giving people a time frame is what you're doing.
No, that's a great idea. I've given books away both virtually and in person. They draw for a ticket, and the person wins. But I like that idea, is that if you write a review, I'll have a little gift certificate or something.
Well, not if you write it, just over the week, like somebody will win, not for everybody. Just, right. Have a content, like a week, because sometimes it's stagnant at like 50 or 48, and you want to get to 50. So it's the same thing as like when we want to get members. We do stuff to get the extra members. So there's nothing wrong with doing that. Okay. And like Connor says, you always know when somebody really didn't read the book.
Yeah.
people can't lie, so, but yes, but book group, and he said, it is important to be grateful when people review your book.
Oh, I'm always grateful.
Yeah. And the world has changed so much, like we can connect now. Before we couldn't as easily as we can now. So the world has changed. We've opened up a whole new way to communicate. So it's a lot easier for us to invite authors to speak with us and vice versa. So that's I'll shut up now.
Nice.
Thank
And I
you.
recommend Jonathan's book as well.
Oh, thank you. Yes. You just won a gift certificate. You don't know that.
Thank you.
Thank you, Annie. This has been a really wonderful conversation. I hope you all got something out of it. And I certainly hope you all come back again next week for part 2, same time, 1 week from tonight. And we'll be putting that on Facebook Live as well.
Great.
Thank you, Annie. Really appreciate your time tonight.
Thank you so much. All right. Have a wonderful night, everybody.
All right.
you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Good night. Sleep tight.
Thank you. You too. Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Bye.